This is Gene Key, Skyserve, Texas News.
Texas has its first locally contracted Zika case. KHOU.com contributed to this report. The Dallas Department of State Health Services and Cameron County Department of Health and Human Services Monday announced the first case of Zika virus disease likely transmitted by a mosquito in Texas. The patient lives in Cameron County in the Rio Grande Valley. The patient is not pregnant and reported no recent travel to Mexico or anywhere else with ongoing Zika virus transmission. There are no other cases of suspected local transmission at this time in Texas, but health officials continue to conduct disease surveillance activities as part of the state's ongoing Zika response. Nearly 50 individuals are taken to Austin hospitals over the weekend after overdosing on K2. KBUE.com contributed to this report from Austin. K2 is a product that has been sprayed with a chemical compound that mimics the effect of THC, the active ingredients in marijuana. The large number of patients were transported to various hospitals. The U.S. Supreme Court is set to examine if Texas is trying to put to death a convicted killer who's intellectually disabled. The AssociatedPress.com contributed to this report from Houston. Lawyers for prisoner Bobby James Moore, 57, contend that the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, the state's highest criminal court, ignored current medical standards and required use of outdated standards when it decided Moore isn't mentally disabled. That ruling removed a large hurdle to Moore's execution for the shotgun slaying of a Houston grocery store clerk in 1980. Moore's lawyers want his death sentence set aside, contending his punishment would violate the Constitution's ban on cruel and unusual punishment and the Supreme Court's 2002 ruling in a North Carolina case that prohibited execution of the mentally disabled. Since the Supreme Court allowed capital punishment to resume in 1976, Texas has carried out 537 executions, far more than any other state. Austin office workers have been told to be cautious as snakes slither in outside their buildings. KVUE.com contributed to this report. Frequent sightings of rattlesnakes outside a couple of North Austin state office buildings have people who work in them rattled. Austin state office buildings have people who work in them rattled. State agencies in the building have sent memos to employees warning about the venomous reptiles. And Austin herpetologist James Tripp says the snakes are likely living in the landscaping rocks, shrubs, or other areas around the buildings that border open fields. He said that activity is typical of developing areas where wildlife has been displaced. The Austin area also has seen more rain this year, leading to more reports of snakes. Visit us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter at Skyserve News Service. This is Gene Key, Skyserve Texas News.